Welcome inside Kennedy High School for girls basketball tonight here in early February. And it's a familiar matchup as the Kennedy Eagles are hosting the St. Louis Park Orioles alongside Alex Redding and our crew, Josh Powers, with you. The second of two meetings between these two teams. Alex, as you got two teams kind of with different stories for Kennedy. It's a completely brand new team than the one a year ago that played St. Louis Park so tough in the playoffs. But conversely for St. Louis Park, it's a lot of returning talent and a lot of very good talent, as was evident in the first matchup between these two teams this year.
Yeah, and in that first matchup, you had three players in that game. Reagan Alexander in the double-digit point column with 18 points. Kendall Coley with 10. Or correction, that was Shayla Miller with 10. Kendall Coley had 19. So you had three players that were in double digits in that game, which really shows you the ability they can have with their size and their exterior three-point presence. And it's such a big factor in this game because Kennedy really needs to play all-around good basketball to contest that size and to contest that accuracy. So it's going to be very interesting tonight to see how both of these teams play in the paint.
That score earlier this year was 67-36 at St. Louis Park as the Orioles were able to defeat Kennedy. As we take a look at some of the comings and goings here as we get later on in the season in the Metro Top 10, the 4A Top 10, Alex, why don't you run it down as you see it on the screen there?
Well, obviously a familiar sight at number one, Josh, without surprise. The Hopkins Royals undefeated at 18-0. Wayzata coming in just underneath them at the number two spot at 16-2. Farmington having a really strong breakout year. They're at the number three spot at 17-2. St. Michael Albertville, abbreviated as STMA there in the graphic at 12-4. Park Center, the Pirates at number 5 with a 15-3 overall record. Stillwater at number 6 with a record of 13-4. Chaska making a big jump to number 7 at 16-4. Maple Grove at the 8th ranked spot. Centennial at 9 and Rosemont at 10. And we're going to throw it down to the home court for the national anthem.
Played in accordance with Minnesota State High School League and Metro West Conference rules. These rules provide for fair competition among players. Spectators can be positive fans by observing the fundamentals of good sportsmanship. Spectators who engage in conduct dangerous to themselves or others, or who interfere with the rights of others to view the game, will be asked to leave with no refunding of admission. You're reminded that Bloomington schools are tobacco-free. Please refrain from use of tobacco anywhere on the school grounds. Please join us for tonight's national anthem. And now for our starting lineups. We will first be announcing the visiting St. Louis Park Orioles. At guard, number 13, Sadie Arosh. At guard, number 21, Jordan Turek. At forward, number 23, Reagan Alexander. At guard, number 31, Shayla Miller. And at forward, number 32, Kendall Coley. And now for our Kennedy Eagles. At guard, number 5, Ashley Burchett. At guard, number 12, Isabel Miller. At guard, number 22, Malia Shaw. At forward, number 25, Callie Kopka. And at guard, number 30, Kiera Cox. The Eagles are coached by Quentin Johnson, and the Orioles are coached by Arsenio Richardson. Let's play basketball.
All right, so there's the starting lineups. Just had the national anthem. Not quite as good as Demi Lovato, but we'll take the instrumental version as we're about ready to begin this one. Kennedy 1-19. It's been a difficult year. St. Louis Park 8-11. But Alex, when we last saw Kennedy, what a battle they put on against the Jaguars in a losing effort in overtime.
That was quite the battle in overtime, and for that group of seniors to go out the way that they did. Obviously, the scoreboard does not reflect too well how the game was played. I mean, especially if you were to look at the early parts of the second half. Kennedy was considered down and out through the midway point in that second half, but Kennedy and that senior composure that group of seniors had was truly unforgettable. Being able to witness that moment live in the St. Louis Park gym, they came back and they rallied from double digits, and they tied the game, sent it to overtime, and Kennedy ran into foul trouble in that game, which ultimately cost them a few players, which would give St. Louis Park the advantage.
Well, I know you're talking about that playoff game last spring, but I was more referencing the effort from last week as Jefferson was able to defeat Kennedy, but it was quite a battle down the stretch. So Kennedy improving despite their 1-19 record, and they get an early stop here. They are going to face some relentless pressure, though, from St. Louis Park in this game as the Eagles throw it away. And this was something that gave Kennedy some problems when Jefferson went to it. Now, the athleticism of a Jefferson team versus what we're going to see here against St. Louis Park, much more athletic than even Jefferson was able to bring to the table. As Kendall Coley misses a 3, she's one of the key players to watch for St. Louis Park. Alex, why don't you run down a couple of the key players that not only helped them on the basketball court, but also on the volleyball court, as we also saw earlier this year, as Ashley Burchett scores.
I mean, we run down some of the key impact players. That's a nice feed inside, but it goes off and shot no good. But Jordan Turek, number 21, look for her. She's going to get big. Kendall Coley right there just making the three-pointer and missing.
And then the other
32.
The other trio is Reagan Alexander, 23 in white, as another offensive rebound. That was the third offensive rebound that possession. And you see the length of Kendall Coley. When we last saw her, she was putting away Jefferson, unfortunately, in that section volleyball championship as St. Louis Park made it to the state tournament for the first time ever, and Kendall was a big reason why they were able to accomplish that feat as she's able to get the three-point play.
It's because she was able to use her size well, and that's what makes her such a dangerous weapon on the basketball court, as we're about to witness here tonight. And Kennedy's going to find that out really early on in this game, how difficult it is to guard her when she's down low and contend against her on defense.
Burchett trying to score twice, but that one no good. Rebound taken down by Coley, who averages 15.1 per game. second on the team as Reagan Alexander averages 16, but that one's put in by Shayla Miller, another double-figure scorer averaging 11. The Orioles have 4 of them, as you mentioned, Turek at 10.5 points per game. So balanced scoring, but they can also have scorers go deep into the score sheet. Coley has a season high, by the way, this year of 28. And between Coley and Alexander, they combined for 37 points against Kennedy in the first matchup. Here's Malia Shaw on the handoff, but it's off of the knee of Burchett and out of play. Kennedy trailed St. Louis Park at half in that first game, Alex, 43-18 by 25 points. So they're hoping for a better start here in this one.
Well, the other thing, if you're Kennedy in that game, you limited St. Louis Park to nearly half. They only allowed 24 points in the second half, so Kennedy definitely able to ratchet it up later on. But if you're Kennedy, you also know that you need to really set the tempo early.
Early development for Kennedy, 2 fouls on Malia Shaw. So they have to go quickly to their bench as the shot is missed. Kennedy has the rebound. Burchett, 1-on-3, attacks the basket and scores to bring Kennedy within 1. So the Eagles will bring 35. Caitlin Farrell off the bench. She's a senior. One of just 3 seniors for Kennedy.
Caitlin Farrell averaging 2.7 points a game, 16 points on the season, and a season high of 5 points.
Already the 3rd foul on Kennedy. And here's Reagan Alexander, their leading scorer, and she's, along with Coley, only a junior. So this St. Louis Park team is going to be a threat here in the Metro West, not just this year, but next year. They are 8-11, but 5-2 in the Metro West, 2 games behind Chaska. Hawks going along pretty decent this year, Alex, if you call 16-4 pretty decent, and I would categorize it as that or more. Alexander gets the second one to drop.
As you've mentioned with Chaska, their depth is so incredible. Just the amount of players that can come off the bench and really give it to you is something. You know, we also see that in another West Suburb team as well, Waconia, the Wildcats. And if you remember, folks, in that game way early this season when Waconia traveled to Jefferson, 106 or 3, I believe, for Waconia. That was
it was over 100. Ashley Burchett's been able to drive to the basket. This is the 3rd time she's been able to sneak inside, and after the first one, I could hear the St. Louis Park coaching staff to my left or to my right say, "We talked about that." Now that's the 3rd time. It's hard to keep her out of the paint because she's very quick and explosive. So hopefully that's something that Kennedy can continue to exploit in this one. Isabel Miller for 3, and she connects to give Kennedy the lead, and that would be a big boost if her or Kopka can start connecting. But they didn't get back on D, and Faith Johnson, another one of the volleyball players we saw a couple months ago, beat Jefferson, gets an easy layup, and that prompts Quentin Johnson to call a timeout. So the Orioles have the lead back. But I want to go back to that volleyball game, Alex, because you and I were on tap for that one, and Jefferson threw everything they had, the home crowd, all the atmosphere on St. Louis Park. And for that team, for a bunch of juniors like Coley and Alexander and Faith Johnson and others, and yeah, they had a couple of seniors help them, but what a performance by St. Louis Park to get to that state tournament.
My gosh. It was a very, very back and forth game. Each team taking matches back and forth, and at the very end, the gas ran out of the tank for Jefferson. And you know, if you're Jefferson, that's how you want to end up. You want to have all the gas drained out of your tank. You don't want to leave the season knowing that you had gas in the tank. And that was truly a terrific season for Jefferson, and I would not be surprised if they made it very far, and in fact won the section championship next year is what we're hoping for here at BEC-TV. Obviously that would send us to state. Should be a very exciting moment.
Here's Turek on the pull-up after Ashley Burchett drive was interrupted by a turnover. This jump ball will go back to Kennedy on the arrow. But let's not forget, in that fifth and final set, Jefferson had a 6-1 lead.
They did.
In that fifth set. So not only did St. Louis Park come back from 2-1 down, they had to overcome that deficit in the fifth set, and they did. So a lot of those same players on the court here for the basketball team. So speaks to the kind of mental attitude that those players have. Kind of surprised they're only 8-11, but this year overall, Alex. But in the Metro West, they certainly have improved things with that 5-2 record.
Yeah, they most certainly have. And St. Louis Park, yeah, I know they're not above or at 500, but they have won a nice string of games here down the stretch. I mean, that's something that's very key to look at.
They've won 6 out of their last 7. They have played a very difficult schedule. Some of their losses, Alex, to your point, St. Michael Albertville by 5. They're in the top 10.
Yep.
They've also lost to Hopkins, who hasn't. They're undefeated. They lost to Minnetonka, Lakeville North, Eden Prairie, and Chaska. So losses to very good teams. One reason why that they're under 500 despite the amount of talent they have in the roster.
Well, I mean, the other thing I'm going to throw in there too, Josh, is that they're not losing by that many points either. I mean, we take the Eden Prairie game, for example. They only lost by 2 points hosting Eden Prairie. And they lost by 7 to Robbinsdale Cooper, 69-62 on the road in Cooper. I mean, that's something that's pretty difficult to do if you're any team. Doesn't matter whether you're in the top 10 or not. Cooper's a very tough place to play as there's a foul down low.
Yeah, and Cooper they also beat Cooper the last time out, and Cooper's 15-5 overall. So
yeah, this team is going to be very seasoned when they enter playoffs this year. I will tell you that.
Right now it's a 9-7 St. Louis Park lead. There's a foul. That's going to make Quentin Johnson clap a little bit more as the foul's starting to even out a little bit. It was 4-1 and now 4-3. The last couple have been called on the Orioles. Here's the difficulty for Kennedy facing this ball pressure is they've got a very good ball handler in Ashley Burchett, but outside of that,
yeah,
ball
there definitely
handlers
is
are
room
few
for
and
improvement.
far between. So they really need her to do the lion's share of breaking that press, as Kennedy, I think, got away with a double dribble there.
Yeah, Kennedy also really needs to watch this press as well. I mean, that's something that was really challenging for him in the Minneapolis South game that we were here for several weeks ago, and Kennedy was not really able to overcome much of that. How about that three by Victoria Miller?
And that's what they need from Isabel Miller, are those threes.
Oh, Isabel Miller, correction.
There's a three off the mark by Coley. I think you can live with Kendall Coley taking a bunch of threes, and so far they've been able to get Miller isolated a couple times for threes, and if Callie Kopka can do the same, Kennedy's a much different team. A three from Burchett, no. Turek grabs the rebound. Another quick launch off the window for three. The bank is open for Kia Hegdahl. That's a bonus for St. Louis Park. Not one of their normal scores.
Oh boy.
Here's a steal by Faith Johnson and a layup.
One thing I'm going to mention, too, about Faith Johnson as she scored the most recent basket for St. Louis Park is that she's a very sneaky player. And here she is taking a shot and missing, but absolutely fantastic player when she gets left alone in space. She can do some damage.
Her numbers are way down from last year in terms of scoring. She's averaging just 2.1 points per game, but already 4 points tonight, as she's only scored in 12 games this year. Last year she was near a double-digit scorer for St. Louis Park, if I remember correctly. Coley and Johnson check out. Alexander stays in there. 14-10. Kennedy trailing by 4, but against the Orioles earlier this year, they were trailing by 25 at the half, so this is a much better start for Kennedy. Buchanan trying to dribble. This is where Kennedy misses Burchett right now. She's on the bench, or actually with it. Didn't see her, but there she goes.
That's a great step back move by Burchett moments ago.
Inside, Buchanan trying to pick it up, and we have a foul jump ball. This time it'll go back to the Orioles.
Very close. Very close to being a travel there, as we just saw on the replay down low. It's very easy when you get into those situations with a one-on-one when you got two players fighting for the ball. Very easy to travel in that situation. And also the most common outcome, the jump ball.
Second three is good for Kaya Hegdahl. Only averaging 3.2 points per game, but already with 6. Miller wisely gives it to Burchett, almost picked by St. Louis Park. That was Turek. Burchett doing a lot of dribbling, gets down the lane, feeds it to the corner for Kiera Cox, and it's a long 2.
Toe was just on the line, but that's a long-range shooting that Kennedy needs to display here tonight.
Yarosh almost had it poked away. This is Shayla Miller down the lane, and a foul before the shot, I believe. Kennedy's going further to their bench here. Maya Green's going to check in. Also Nia Dawson, number 44. They need more help down low trying to defend the bigs for St. Louis Park, as Kennedy's in a little bit of foul trouble right now.
Also, I like the play by Coach Quentin Johnson. You got to put the size down in there. And we knew this coming into the game, and I'm pretty sure most of these fans did as well, that oh, and there's a nice layup down low by number 23, Reagan Alexander. Both of these teams knew that the paint was definitely going to be an area of much need. And Kennedy realizing they had a deficiency in that. They need to go to all their stops here.
Burchett hounded, able to get it to Buchanan. Left-handed drive off the window, no, tracked it down. Burchett crossed over, hit the leg of Turek, and a kick ball.
You gotta like the footwork by Jordan Turek on Ashley Burchett. She moves her feet very, very nicely. And a lot of basketball is played within your feet. That is a great one-on-one matchup.
Green on the drive, Maya Green. We last saw her have a nice JV game against Jefferson, and she's beginning to earn more playing time at the varsity level as the season goes on. Number 33 in blue. Inside, Nia Dawson backs her way in, had it blocked though by Alexander, picked up by Buchanan, that rims out.
That's a great follow-up by Buchanan, realizing where her teammate is and follows up right behind, plays for a nice putback.
Miller three-pointer, no, but Yarosh sneaks in for the rebound, and that's too easy for Alexander underneath.
Take another look at this one here. You can't.
She catches it there, it's over.
Oh, yeah, especially with that size matchup, too, as I was just going to say there. Yeah, that size matchup is definitely something that Kennedy does not want to get caught having down in the paint with her.
Coley comes back in along with Johnson for St. Louis Park, leading by 9, nearing the midway point of the first half. And a travel on Burchett, as the length there of Shayla Miller bothered her a little bit. St. Louis Park trying to keep their Metro West hopes alive. They still get Chaska one more time. Here's Turek for 3, and she splashes it home.
Nice in and out play by St. Louis Park. Nice job of drawing number 33, Maya Green, in there. And, you know, that's something that Maya Green's going to have to really work on as far as discipline. How about that layup down low?
Stolen right out of the hands of Buchanan by Shayla Miller. And all of a sudden, it's gone from a 4-point game to a 14-point game, just a matter of a couple minutes. Another steal by Miller. She glides in off the window. And Quentin Johnson on the court to call another timeout as the Orioles have broken this one open. They've scored 14 out of the last 16 points, Alex, to stretch out this lead to 16.
Yeah, and St. Louis Park has been very, very, as we just saw in the last breakaway and bucket, they've been very, very optimistic intercepting Kennedy's passes, contending the passes. And, I mean, primarily St. Louis Park has put a lot of pressure on Ashley Burchett, and that has worked out really well. I mean, with Jordan Turek doing a nice job against her, matching up, it really is starting to become a problem for Kennedy. And this is where the Eagles right now need to realize that it's not just Ashley Burchett that runs the offense. I mean, yeah, there have been key contributors here tonight in this game as well. I mean, we talk about some key makes from downtown by Isabel Miller. She's definitely going to need to get the ball, but, you know, St. Louis Park's making it very difficult with the way that they've been playing defensively. And if you're Kennedy, the best way that you can defeat St. Louis Park right now is constant passing. Passing teams win the majority of the games that they play. And passing. Doesn't matter where it is on the floor. That's what Kennedy really needs to work heavily here if they plan to come back in this one.
Callie Kopka to inbound. She had a great game against Jefferson. I know she was upset she missed that last three-pointer in overtime. Would have given Kennedy the lead, but they wouldn't have been there without her 14 points. Much of that coming in the second half when Kennedy was mounting that comeback, which eventually tied the game. There's a nice catch in traffic by Maya Green, breaks the press. Buchanan, dribble drive, caught off nicely by Faith Johnson, but it comes over to Nia Dawson, who scores and draws the foul.
Great positioning by Nia Dawson, just goes up and gets the bucket, but you also got to like on defense there with the initial drive. Faith Johnson set herself in the lane, perfectly played straight up. And she does really well on defense, Faith Johnson. And we saw a lot of that, too, last year in the quarterfinal game that we were there for. That was obviously on Park TV. But also early on in the year, Faith Johnson, solid defensive player as well for St. Louis Park. So the Orioles very fortunate to have her. And missed free throw there. And, you know, that's the other thing going back to the Jefferson game, Josh, for both JV and varsity. Kennedy really had a tough time hitting those free throws.
Yeah, that ultimately hurt Kennedy.
So that's also something that Kennedy has to pay attention to here. They want to have an advantage is to just hit the free throws.
Buchanan. Samara Buchanan picks up her dribble. Checked in was Daviana Singleton Buchanan, number 24 for Kennedy. Here's Kopka. Samara Buchanan. Deflected by Shayla Miller, out of play. With just over 8 minutes left here in the first half. The freshman Burchett leads Kennedy in scoring this year. She is the next great Kennedy guard. They get it inside to Dawson. A lot of contact play on. Kennedy grabs the board. Burchett at 13.1 points per game. Singleton Buchanan looking on the inside. Tough pass over the top, but there was some contact and a foul on St. Louis Park, which will put Kennedy in the bonus.
Well, if Kennedy's going to start a push offensively to try and come back in this game, it's now.
This would be a good way to do it, hitting some free throws here.
Well, especially that they're in the bonus now, and you also got to figure how is St. Louis Park going to adjust to this defensively, especially in the lane. If you're Kennedy right now, and if I'm Quentin Johnson, I'm going to be telling my players, put the foot on the gas. Continue to pound the paint. And that's how games are won and lost. And in any level of the sport of basketball, it's how well that you play in the paint. And another missed free throw at the line for Kennedy.
Yeah, that was a missed 1-and-1 for Dawson, and it leads to a layup on the other end by Shayla Miller. Miller having a nice first half with 8 points. Things are going to get dicey here against this press without Burchett in, but Kennedy bailed out by a foul. It'll send Daviana Singleton Buchanan to the line for a 1-and-1. Daviana has scored 17 points this year, including 11 in a game earlier this year.
Averages 3.5 points a game.
Foul was on the scores table at a question. Foul was on Faith Johnson of St. Louis Park. She now has 2 fouls. So this front end is good for Daviana to make it a 30-15 game. Only an 8th grader for Kennedy. Nice arc on those free throws. Second one no good though. Tracked down by Shayla Miller. So another young promising player for Kennedy as we have a travel on Coley.
As you could probably hear in the background, Arsenio Richardson a little fired up there on the bench for St. Louis Park.
Safe to say he did not agree with the travel. Here's Callie Kopka. Not her forte, ball handling. She's more of that spot-up shooter as she's unable to find her teammate down low.
I mean, typically on the baseline, you need to be looking for a bounce pass down there. Not sure floating it was the best idea, but okay.
Backdoor Turek under the basket. Good recovery defense. 3-pointer off the mark, and Singleton Buchanan the rebound.
Kennedy's been given some key opportunities with St. Louis Park missing on offense and also drawing some fouls, and oh boy.
Well, this 10-second violation is essentially going to wipe away this layup that was going to happen for St. Louis Park. As Kendall Coley with that height and length a problem on the press. We saw her block a ton of volleyballs in that section championship, and she kind of did the same thing there on that pass attempt by Isabel Fierro. Backdoor Yarosh, she was in trouble, got it to Coley. 3-pointer no. Yarosh the rebound, and that's no good.
Another key, fortunate defensive possession for Kennedy. Oh, and a costly turnover there.
Swiped away by Jordan Turek. Hegdahl will pull it back out with just over 6 minutes left in the first half. Yarosh down the lane, off the window, and good.
That's a really nice drive by Yarosh, and well, here's where Kopka really needs to slide her feet. She tried to move her body a little bit too much. It's where you set your feet. And another breakaway and layup, this time by Kendall Cooley.
Great steal by Coley. You could hear the leather being slapped on that steal by Coley. Yarosh ties up Maya Green. Kennedy will keep it.
Faith Johnson now checking in for St. Louis Park.
Up to a 19-point lead for St. Louis Park. They're on a 20-5 run. And they will get it back as Green stepped out of bounds right in front of her bench. At the elbow, Shayla Miller, too strong. Kopka grabs the board. And now Callie Kopka gets it quickly ahead to the 8th grader, Singleton Buchanan, but that one's short and out of play.
Maybe a drive more in towards the basket would have been more ideal, but of course with that size lurking down low, of course it's understandable why she quickly pulled up to try and put in a little hook shot in, but just unfortunately for Kennedy didn't go. But you could see already just mentally inside these Kennedy players a little bit how the St. Louis Park size is affecting them.
Here's Johnson down the lane, rejected by Callie Kopka.
That's a shot in the arm Kennedy very much needed on defense.
Burchett looked to the inside, that wasn't open. Lob over the top to Green, and we've got a St. Louis Park foul. And it's double bonus time for Kennedy. Going to be the 10th team foul. So Maya Green, not Maya Green. Sorry about that, Malia Shaw to the line. Shaw for Kennedy has come on late, 22 points so far this year.
Has a high of 10, averaging 5.5 points a game.
Shaw getting her first point of the game.
Jordan Turek also, by the way, I'm going to mention, checks in for St. Louis Park here. Another key player on the court if you're St. Louis Park right now.
And Shaw is able to get them both to make it a 17-point Oriole advantage. Under 5 to go in the half. Coley yet to hit a 3. Yarosh down the lane, tough pass off her fingers and out of bounds.
That is a really, really great play. You can see there by number 22, Shaw, just staying off the body, letting the ball go out of bounds. That's a smart defensive play.
Watch
it is
Coley.
so easy.
Inside, Dawson pump faked, left it short. Alexander the rebound. Here's Yarosh quickly ahead, another risky pass and another turnover. So Kennedy doing enough, Alex, to make those passes challenging for St. Louis Park.
Just enough, and all it takes is one defender in the paint in transition to be a huge difference.
Ahead to Callie Kopka, and they smartly get it back to Burchett. This is where it's going to be difficult. She picks up her dribble there, got it over to Cox, flings it over to Kopka, but Turek was over there and got the loose ball. Miller to Coley. Three-pointer on the way, and her first from beyond the arc for Kendall Coley.
Didn't need to put that much on that three-point ball, especially with her size. Oh, and that would have been a much-needed cookie-grabbing play on the inside, getting into the cookie jar. Unfortunately, that does not go for Kiera Cox. That was a nice feed to her in transition, trying to get it down low.
Just a little too tall for the senior for Kennedy, number 30. 20-point St. Louis Park advantage with 3.5 minutes left in the half. Turek lines it up from deep and misses everything.
Oh, and she's left that wide open. She doesn't miss that one much, but there's a rare miss from how wide open that is.
Miller going to get called for a travel. She kind of hopped as she picked that ball up.
Yeah, you got to settle yourself down, especially when you're shooting from three-point range. And because the game has been playing so fast, you could kind of see that she was very eager, a little bit too eager to try and get the shot off right away. And it's this pace of play that's really thrown Kennedy off, you know, not just with their energy level, but also the shooting game as well.
Eagles have gone to a zone, and it works that possession as the Orioles turn it over. Burchett, this is an interesting matchup guarded by Kendall Coley. Burchett to Miller, her three hits the back of the rim, but she tracks it down.
It's a great job of following your shot. Very textbook by Miller.
Jump stop, Burchett, and the teardrop falls.
Doing what she does, Ashley Burchett in the lane.
6 points for Burchett. Alexander, and that is a foul without a lot of contact. It's just a sixth on Kennedy. So St. Louis Park will have it underneath, and now both teams will be in the penalty the rest of the way. Yarosh, her three is right on target. 4-3 for St. Louis Park of the half as they deflect that one away.
Good pressure by Kennedy on that baseline, forcing a pretty questionable pass.
Here's a steal by Yarosh. Kopka on the block, and it'll go back to St. Louis Park. So good recovery there from Callie Kopka.
Kind of hard to see the end of that play in the replay there, but yeah, that's a good job of Kopka just trying to play straight up.
Coley missing the easy one inside, but Johnson grabs the board. Yarosh arcs in another three-point field goal.
The depth of St. Louis Park is really starting to show right now. Oh, boy.
Coley lines it up. That three is good.
This is something that St. Louis Park can also do to you. I mean, with that size, you don't really get a whole lot of focus from the exterior. There's a travel, so another turnover. But yeah, I was just going to mention that's also what St. Louis Park brings to the table, and everybody can shoot for the three ball. I mean, that's partially what makes this team so dangerous.
46-19 as that travel was on Dawson, who just lifted that pivot foot. Coley, free throw line jump shot is good, and after a slow start, she's starting to pick it up with 13 points in the first half. Dawson 2-on-1 with Cox, but it's stolen by Shayla Miller. Miller pulls up. Jumper no. Coley couldn't grab the rebound. Kennedy has it. Here's Burchett. Down the lane, off the window, and a foul on Alexander.
Nice hustle by Burchett getting down there on the one-on-one, drawing a foul going up. That's a very smart play from the freshman, driving in. And I mean, also back to that last steal by St. Louis Park. Yeah, Dawson's got to be a lot more disciplined, especially utilizing the bounce pass a lot more. You know, Kennedy has definitely struggled with trying to get good rhythms in games, passing the ball. And ball handling is a big part of that. That's also something that Kennedy has been trying to work on as well. And with this young Kennedy team, they will definitely get better. They will get more experience.
Burchett now with 7 points in the first half as we're under a minute. She deflected that pass, but it still got to Shayla Miller. Coley will track it down. They swing it to Yarosh. She bobbles it. We'll see if the Orioles want to play for one here. Half a minute remaining. Coley, free throw line. Rims out. Rebound, Faith Johnson for another basket. She has 6 points for the first half.
So you can see there on the replay, Faith Johnson Goes to her friend, and on that last shot by Faith Johnson, yet again, she hits glass both times with a shot down low. That's how you finish in the paint. So a couple of key poise shots by Faith Johnson to end the first half of play. And St. Louis Park, you can see why they've been on a tear lately, and it's this kind of teamwork and this rhythm that they've had in all aspects of their game, being able to shoot the three ball and being able to work teams inside and just stretch defenses apart to the point where I don't think you can recognize them a whole lot after. Just really a dominant showing here in the first half by St. Louis Park. You got to like how they're just being even with the ball, passing, shooting, and they range themselves very, very nicely in this game, starting with some of those smaller shots, and then when they got in rhythm from three, oh boy, look out. When it's raining, it's pouring. And that's what Kennedy right now is going to try and regroup to try and stop in the second half as we are at halftime here at Kennedy High School.
St. Louis Park has recently scored a season-high 94 points against Chanhassen, and that is certainly in jeopardy as they put up 52 in the first half behind 13 points from Kendall Coley.
And
Kennedy was led by Ashley Burchette, who had 7 points in the first half. Go ahead, Alex.
And all I was going to say earlier, sorry to cut you off, by the way, but are we going to see another 100-point game on a BEC broadcast here? That would be something if we were to see two here in this season.
Well, we'll have to wait to find out. We don't know yet, but we will know probably within the next 45 minutes. So stick around. Second half coming up next. St. Louis Park on top of Kennedy at the break, 52-20 here on BEC-TV.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of you, of your families, or your children. Asking you to deploy, patrol, stay on watch, on point. Asking you to put yourself in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to bring you all the way home, to keep you secure, to have your back for the rest of your life. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs do whatever it takes to help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Find out how you can help at findwwp.org.
Back at Kennedy High School as St. Louis Park leading Kennedy by 32, headed toward the second half. Josh Powers alongside Alex Redding and our crew here on the east side on this early February Tuesday night. Glad you're with us. Part of a busy, this game part of a busy slate of games here, Alex.
Oh, yeah. We got the game here tonight. Kennedy hosting the Orioles of St. Louis Park, and we also got Jefferson right now taking on the Chanhassen Storm over on the west side of Bloomington. And we also have the Chaska Hawks hosting the Benilde St. Margaret Red Knights, and Richfield still on fire, and they play De La Salle tonight as there is, as you've mentioned, a busy night, and as we all know, busy night of girls basketball around the Metro.
Busy week for us here on BEC-TV, just 48 hours away from the only Battle of Bloomington on the ice that we're going to see this year. Jefferson and Kennedy will have JV coverage for you at 5:15, and the big boy game at 7 o'clock approximate time, and that should be another good one. We saw Kennedy last Saturday afternoon, tough one, losing in overtime. But they defeated Jefferson last year in an upset. They hung on to win by once. You know, the Jaguars are going to want some revenge a couple of nights from now.
That game is going to be nothing but physical. And as the last two Battle of Bloomingtons, and yes, of course, the ones before us have shown that, yes, these two crosstown rivals are very personal and very physical in their play, and they play with a lot of heart.
We're underway second half. Layup too strong by Reagan Alexander. She had 6 first half points for St. Louis Park. 7 different Orioles were able to score in the first half. Coley leading them with 13. For Kennedy, they had 5 players score. Ashley Burchett had 7. Isabella Miller complemented with 6. Here is Miller over to Kopka. She's open for three for the first time today, but that three-pointer well short.
Kopka, another one of the key players for Kennedy, especially when you want to talk about shooting the 3-ball. Josh, she can hit. And on that shot, it looked like she kind of put too much height on it.
Turek down the lane, the runner, no. Rebounded nicely by Alexander in a crowd. She just kind of reached over the top of Malia Shaw and grabbed it.
Well, she has the size advantage there. Oh, boy, another steal.
Alexander with the left-handed finish and the foul. And again, it was Shayla Miller. It's at least 4 steals for her in this game.
And she has been in the right place at the right time, not just at half court, but also getting down and putting buckets into the hoop when she's needed to, being a step ahead, not just on offense, but on defense as well. Very opportunistic player for St. Louis Park.
Burchett trying to dribble through traffic, still needs to get it across and does. Alexander now with 9 points. Kopka, tough interior pass, another steal for Miller. Over to Coley for the layup, but she missed it. Miller grabbed the rebound and she was fouled, so Shayla Miller will get rewarded for her defense with a chance to get into double figures.
That's a nice job by Shayla Miller playing down low, backing up her teammate. That's so important to do in the paint. And it's that easy when you have a size advantage as they do. And Shayla Miller, very experienced, one of the seniors on this Oriole team at the guard position.
There's not many, there's just 2. Turek is the other. 9 points also now for Shayla Miller. Baseball pass from Gabrielle Brown is right on the money to Kopka for the layup.
Well, that's one of the ways you beat a backcourt press, is you sneak someone out the back door and go for the football pass deep. And how about that? that ball going in.
Goalie now is 16. Is it? You said it. That hit the dead back of the rim and just dropped in.
Ashley Burchett's got to look out. She got it away in time, though. But
That's Kopka's shot, that wing three-pointer, but that one rims out. Yaroja had tipped away by Isabel Miller. Great hustle from number 12 in blue. Orioles keep it. Inside, Alexander got the position and got the basket.
nice job of getting her feet set as we look here on the replay. Just waits for number 44 to get her feet set and jump, and then goes up and makes a really nice layup. Nice patience there down low as we have an injured Oriole on the court, unfortunately.
How about that save by Callie Kopka? She
Oh, my
was
goodness, yes.
running out of bounds and just hit the basketball over to the corner, and it somehow stayed in play.
Well, that make Magic Johnson pretty proud.
That was about as much as she could have done with that attempt. As you mentioned, Alex, there is an injured Oriole down in the corner.
And we hope everything is okay over there.
And it's Shayla Miller. She's up pretty quickly, and she's able to walk off on her own accord. So it doesn't appear to be anything too serious.
May have had the wind knocked out of her.
And she doesn't need to be rushed in by any means, as the Orioles are up by 41 points.
And Miller's just been playing so hard, so incredibly hard in this game.
Gabrielle Brown on the high pivot. We were informed at the half that indeed that is Brown and not Nia Dawson, who's listed as number 44. Here's Burchett crossing over, floating, no.
Kennedy really has to watch this transition now.
Corner two-pointer is good for Joelle Sheffield, her first points of the game.
It's been a lot of great passes in transition by St. Louis Park, and that's one of the ways how they've kept Kennedy on their heels defensively in this game. I mean, it has really just gotten to Kennedy in so many ways.
Kennedy called a timeout just before that ball was inbounded, apparently. 30-second timeout. Why don't you run down the Metro West standings right now, Alex, as St. Louis Park, they are wanting to keep climbing up that ladder to get near the top spot.
Currently right now they are tied with Robbinsdale Cooper for the second place spot, but Chaska continues to hold the first place spot at 6-0 with the conference record, 16-4 overall. Robbinsdale Cooper, St. Louis Park, as you can see there, knotted at 5-2 apiece. Chanhassen at 4-3 overall. Benilde at 2-5. Jefferson at 2-5. They're tied for the fourth place spot, and then Kennedy takes up the last rung in the standings at 0-7 in conference play. They're definitely looking to rewrite that narrative down the stretch here in this season. Kennedy also trying to look for its second win of the season as well.
We should bump up Jefferson to that first page there. Getting that tiebreaker advantage. There's a drive by Sheffield and a foul by Brown. But how about the Jaguars? They showed some fortitude, pulling the Battle of Bloomington game out in overtime, a game that they could have easily let slip away with Kennedy having all the momentum down the stretch. And then you saw them the other night put on a very nice performance against Benilde.
Well, that was the boys, but yeah, this Jefferson team down the stretch has kind of flipped a switch, if you want to put it that way. I mean, the games have not been going all their way, but there are little things that are starting to turn in their favor, especially. And, you want to talk about some key players for them that have really stepped up. And that three goes off the mark. Gabrielle Brown, the rebound. But Abby Jo Nelson has really, really stepped out as a player for Jefferson. We saw a lot of flashes in some of the first games this season for him, and Abby Jo Nelson's really just been playing very, very good basketball.
Well, that was going to be an over and back, but it hit off of Faith Johnson and deflected into the front court. That was fortunate, but Kennedy misses a three. Coley into the inside. Faith Johnson up fake, and then had it stolen by Burchett. Burchett to the corner. They rotate it to Kopka. She thought about it, then tries it and hits a three.
The persistence pays off for Kelly Kopka.
She loves those wing threes. She takes about 50 of them in practice before every game. That layup no good by Alexander. Kennedy on the run. Cox left-handed off the window.
Nice work with the hands down low, going for the layup. And that's also a favorable matchup too. You got similar sizes pitted against one another there, and Kara Cox showing her experience. So a really nice job going up in the lane, and that's something that Kennedy has desperately needed. Just driving to the hoop has just been so difficult. It's been a very big chore for them in this game, especially how big St. Louis Park has it in the size department, as well as in the playmaking department as well, the physicality too.
Kopka rising again, hits another one.
And now Kennedy with 30 points. You can thank Kelly Kopka for a couple of great back-to-back threes. And Miller can hit for three, and so can Kopka. And that is not going to be a foul. And it is going to go out of bounds. It's going to stay with the Orioles here, but yeah, Kelly Kopka, very dangerous if she gets left alone at the three-point range.
She had 4 threes in the second half against Jefferson to spark that comeback.
And that's how Kennedy got back into that game, was using the three ball. Miller also getting into that three game quite a bit. And also Kopka figures that she can spark her team too with a little bit of that downtown magic. Oh boy.
Turned it over, Sheffield ahead to Turek. She will coast in for the layup.
Ball handling and passing in particular has just been such a key area of concern. A lot of challenging drives that Kennedy's had to play with, and especially in the passing game too. You know, they faced a lot of adversity with that, and again, cost them there on that turnover.
Gabrielle Brown, nice pivot, but missed the shot. Rebounded by Green, no. Green sticks with it.
Good job by Green, just taking it out, trying to reset the play here, not trying to push it too much. I like Green's approach.
Lobbed into Brown again. She'll try with the right hand. Falls off the front of the rim. And a foul on St. Louis Park. Shayla Miller, who's back in. She was shaken up a moment ago. That is her 4th foul, though. So they may need to sub her out with 12:09 left.
I mean, if the game was close, that would be pretty significant for St. Louis Park, but with the way the game is currently going, how about that lucky bounce for Ashley Burchett getting the layup? But if you're St. Louis Park now, I don't think it's going to affect you too much.
Burchett now with 9 points. Miller, they leave her, and she makes Kennedy pay with a 3.
She has been quite the utilitarian extraordinaire tonight, hasn't she, Josh? She's done a little of everything down low in the paint and transition on breakaways, getting big key passes, intercepting passes, as we almost saw there. She's been really great at that. How many steals she's had in this game.
Would have picked up another one had her teammate not been whistled for a foul. She'll check out, though, with those 4 personals. St. Louis Park just not even hiding the fact they're bringing a second defender to double team Ashley Burchett right as she crosses the timeline, forcing her to give the ball up.
Get around, Faith! Get around!
Here's Green exploring a little bit. Kopka able to get it to Green, who just avoided stepping on the timeline.
Way to cover for your teammate by Maya Green. Oh, boy. And there's a foul hard there.
Excellent defense. Watch Jordan Turek stay right with Burchett. and then would have had the steal had it not been for the foul on Ashley.
And St. Louis Park has just gone right at Ashley Burchett from the second that this game tipped off and constantly attacked her. And as of late, they have been double teaming her. That has forced a lot of pressure on her. So really, she is being tested, Ashley Burchett, as a player. Her character is also going to be tested too, and she's still playing hard. That 3 misses.
Out of bounds back to Kennedy. 10:44 remaining.
And as I've mentioned, and I know that you mentioned before, Josh, with the double team on Ashley Burchett, it's opened up some opportunities for a lot of these other Kennedy players. I mean, we've seen these opportunities made, I mean, especially with Kopka's threes as she tries one here, can't make it.
Just short. Miller the rebound, and a foul. Isabel Miller. Not known for her offensive rebounding, but she saw a wide open gap right there, Alex, and took advantage.
And she got the sizing matchup that was favorable to her. She gets Sadie Aroche one-on-one with her and is able to go up and display nice skill going and making the nice layup. Here comes Aroche.
Scoop shot and a foul. 8 points now for Isabel Miller. So Sadie Yarosh to the line, 4.1 points per game. Part of that strong junior class for St. Louis Park. Not a ton of free throws being shot in this game. St. Louis Park was 3 out of 5 in the first half. Kennedy 4 out of 8. Sadie hits the second of 2. She has 9 points, so well above her average. Burchett into triple coverage, and a jump ball will keep it with Kennedy. This is a tall task, though, as you see Burchett surrounded there by not only Turek, but also Faith Johnson and most notably Kendall Coley.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get around that frame, especially when it's in the paint.
Green for 3, left it short. Rebound Sheffield, she'll push it.
Right now, if you're St. Louis Park, it's about building that depth.
Turek around Miller, but too strong on the layup. Burchett. Step back 3 ball. Wide right, it'll carry him out of play. So St. Louis Park, who led by 32 at half, now leads by 39 as we near the midway point of the second half.
Singleton Buchanan about to check in for Kennedy.
Samara Buchanan knocked it away, and Alexander was too far under the basket. The speed of Ashley Burchett! Counted and a foul.
Oh, that has to feel amazing for her. I mean, she's been playing hard in this game. Nice shot off the high glass in transition.
That might be 5 on Shayla. Nope, they give it to Joelle Sheffield. Shayla Miller was also right there. That would have been her 5th foul. So Burchett, the first Kennedy player into double figures. Averages 13, does the freshman. She's at 11 right now.
And those have been a very hard-fought 11 points. She has been tested to the limit in this game.
Sheffield, no. Miller, the rebound, had it blocked by Maya Green, and then slapped away by Kennedy.
It's really good defense down low on Shayla Miller. Just playing straight up. It's been very difficult for Kennedy to try and play like that in this game.
Miller tries a 3, no good. Samara Buchanan tracks it down. So we're under 9 minutes left. And a full line change coming for the Orioles. Buchanan, no. Coley grabs the board. It appears some of the starters' nights are going to be done for St. Louis Park, which may include Alexander, who just scores there.
And here we go.
And just a 30-second quick timeout here from Arsenio Richardson to get those subs in. They have their full complement of timeouts still remaining. A 39-point lead for the Orioles, who still have an outside shot at the Metro West title. They're going to need to beat Chaska when they face them again, and they're going to need some help, but
oh, yes, most definitely.
Definitely within their grasp. They're going to need Chaska to lose somewhere else. Possibly to Cooper would be another possibility.
It's possibly possible.
It is. The 8th grader Buchanan, no, and Yarosh will let that go out of play. Some of the new players in for St. Louis Park. 15, Isis Brown. She's another junior center. They don't have heights listed for St. Louis Park, but she's definitely over 6 feet. Also, number 2, Zoe Borode is checked in, another junior.
Ellie Ostad as well, number 14, too.
Here's Maya Green, and she was hacked from behind by Hegdahl.
It's a great job of Maya Green showing hustle in transition, getting the ball underneath and going up and drawing the foul. And, you know, you can really see why she's getting more minutes because of her play, especially as we just saw at times in transition.
Yarosh out, and Janai Watkins, number 1, a sophomore, checks in. And we are also into running time,
As you'll correct.
Notice here in the second half.
Got to think the deficit is 30 or over in order to constitute that running clock.
Good D by Burchett, just not able to keep it in play.
It's good pressure by Burchett on defense and just ran a little bit out of the real estate that she needed in order to keep that play in bounds, but that's still great pressure. And, you know, considering the fact that she's been pressured all night from St. Louis Park, feels pretty good to give a little bit of the Oriole medicine back to them, giving that pressure back.
Three-point heave, too strong by Watkins. And the rebound to Samara Buchanan. This is Isabella Fierro. She turns it over. Good D by Green, who forced the travel on Hegdahl.
As I mentioned before, Green has been playing really well in transition. And at times, we could see there, makes a really great play, this time on defense. And Maya Green definitely plays with a lot of great energy for Kennedy.
Farrell, nice pass to the inside to Green, but couldn't finish the layup.
You could definitely tell Maya Green is pumped up right now. She has a lot of confidence in herself, especially the way that she's been playing, and that three is no good by Ostad.
Isis Brown, though, reaching up right here for the offensive rebound, then goes glass for her first points to make it a 40-point advantage. Caitlin Farrell does not quite get the bounce, and we have a foul on Buchanan of Kennedy. Both teams will now be in the 1-1 from here on out.
Gotta like that St. Louis Park is still trying to push the tempo even with their reserves, and really just kind of shows you how dangerous that they're gonna be with the rest of the games that they have to play here down the stretch in the regular season, but also the postseason as well. I can't imagine being an opposing team on their court having to play them.
Isis Brown. 4:30 to go, St. Louis Park. Content to run clock. Brown may have gotten away with a travel, missed the layup, and then kicked it. They'll continue playing on, apparently.
How about this?
Green, no.
You got to like how Maya Green stuck with the play, even though it was a little bit.
You got to call that, right? It went off the foot of someone. Here's a three. No. Brown the rebound. Watkins left open. She heaves it and splashes it.
Tried one from the key from earlier, didn't hit it, but this time she does. Trusting her mechanics nicely. Just a really good textbook follow through.
First three of the year for Janai Watkins. Long pass.
Bailey Turek and Jordan McMahon about to check in for St. Louis Park. Isabel Siegel and Elena Jaranilla also about to check in.
We're going to get a whistle here as both players crash to the ground. They're going to get an Isis Brown with a foul. And we've got 4 more new Orioles in. As you mentioned, Siegel. Elena Jaranilla, number 20, also checking in. And a couple of others. I think that's Macy Alexander, number 12, a freshman, I believe, is in there. Here's Maya Green, 1-1, yes.
And Macy Alexander is actually right now just coming into the game.
She replaces Zoe Borode.
Key free throw make there for Maya Green, and she just has not stopped since the game has gotten going, playing with that positive energy. And that's something that the coaches really look for, and it's another one of these things that are contributing to her increased varsity minutes this season.
Here's a loose ball. Look at Green go after it. Was able to keep it in, but stepped out of play. Bailey Turek is checked in. She's the younger sister of Jordan. She's a freshman wearing number 50. And also Jordan McMahon, another freshman, 42 in white. So with the running time, we're under 2 minutes remaining here in the second half. That was deflected. Jurania back to grab it at midcourt. Turek bumped by Caitlin Farrell. And a 1-1. Might take us very near the end of this one. What do you got upcoming for St. Louis Park, Alex?
Well, St. Louis Park, they host Chanhassen that game this Friday. And they are on the road at Jefferson High School Tuesday, February 11th. We might have that one for you. Then they host Minnehaha Academy and Benilde St. Margaret. And then they end the season on the road at Chaska. That is going to be probably the biggest test for them this season.
Three-pointer no good by Siegel. Green stops, pops, way too strong. Rebound by Samara Buchanan. And she will go to the free throw line, and that should probably just end this game with 2 shots. Kennedy also Metro West games coming up, Alex.
Well, the Eagles, it's going to be a week from now, but they'll be back here inside the gymnasium. They will host the Benilde St. Margaret Red Knights. And then on Friday that week, they will also host on the 14th of February the Chaska Hawks, and they will put Kennedy to the test. And then their last home game of the season will be on Tuesday, February 18th here at Kennedy for senior night against Robbinsdale Cooper. And then they go on the road, well, just across town, for the final installment of the Battle of Bloomington Girls Basketball Edition on February 21st on that Friday.
We very nearly, Alex, had what could have been the first waved off free throw due to clock expiration that has ever happened in the history of basketball. Now, the free throw was missed anyway, but I don't think that would have counted. That was clearly after the buzzer had sounded. An interesting way to end this game, to say the least. But, Alex, much like the earlier meeting between these teams from start to finish, St. Louis Park deeper than Kennedy. They had the press that bothered Kennedy and their inexperience and lack of ball handlers outside of Ashley Burchett, and they had the experience, and it prevailed again tonight.
Yeah, and with that experience comes great team chemistry, and the way that they demonstrated passing the basketball was super, super surgical, super, super terrific. And if you're a coach, that's exactly how you want to see your team play. Arsenio Richardson has to be very happy with how his team came in here and played tonight. Just very selfless play, and everyone contributing in their own respective manner. And not just for St. Louis Park, also for Kennedy as well. You know, there were definitely some good moments for Ashley Burchett. But how about Maya Green? Now, I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. Maya Green, she's done a terrific job in this game, continuing to push the positive energy for herself, and is really, really making a lot of noise and making a really solid case for more varsity minutes down the road here down the stretch late in the season. So it's going to be very interesting to see how she ends the 2020-2019 season for Kennedy. So very interesting game going to take place next week for both teams as Kennedy hosts Benilde St. Margaret a week from now, and there we are. And then St. Louis Park gets to host Chanhassen. That should be a very entertaining game to watch. And Park TV might have that one for you.
So not the classic we saw last spring in the postseason between these two teams, and certainly a Kennedy team rebuilding versus a very experienced St. Louis Park team. But St. Louis Park trying to hit their stride here at the end of the season and see how far they can take this team, and Kennedy trying to continue to get better as they look to the future. So once again, our final score in this one, St. Louis Park led by the 16 points of Kendall Coley, 80, and Kennedy led by the 11 points of Ashley Burchett, 39. St. Louis Park improves to 6-2 in the Metro West. Our next broadcast, cannot wait, 48 hours from now to be the Battle of Bloomington. Only one on the ice this season between Jefferson and Kennedy. One more thought from you, Alex, briefly
and
here.
And also, speaking of coverage notes for us here on the Station of Champions, after the Battle of Bloomington on ice, don't forget, we have Jefferson basketball in prime time Friday night. I'll be on the mic as the Jefferson Jaguars host the Chaska Hawks. That's going to be a very competitive game in Jefferson, so you want to go ahead and stay tuned for that Friday night. Pregame starts 6:45 p.m. and tip around at 7 o'clock.
All right, once again, our final score, St. Louis Park 80, Kennedy 39. For our entire crew and Alex Redding, this is Josh Powers saying good night from Kennedy High School.